Chapter 14, Speaking Informatively. In this chapter, we are going to choose a method of informing, select and framing the topic, and honing your informative speaking skills. Choosing a method of informing. So informative speeches can define the subject you're talking about, or maybe a certain word. So it can identify the denotative meaning, and if you remember what denotative means from a previous chapter, it means the literal meaning of something. And connotative meaning is the thought that is evoked or the thought that comes to mind when you hear that certain word or topic. Etymology is like the origin or the history of a speech or a certain word or a certain topic. And synonyms are words that are similar to other words you've used, and antonyms are words that mean the opposite. And you can give an example, and you can compare and contrast definitions or situations. Informative speeches can be used to describe something, and you can use words, a picture, place, object, or an experience by using a representation, and that is just giving you an idea of what you're describing to people, maybe a great description of it. And a narration is putting whatever you're talking about into a story in order to describe it or explain it more. Informative speeches can be used to explain something. So make sure your explanations are clear and concrete where people can understand what you mean. And make sure the explanations are objective, so include facts, and not subjective, because that could be emotion. And that's when you're informing somebody about facts. Speeches can be used to demonstrate what you mean in a certain situation or a certain story. It can describe a step as you take it. It can demonstrate a process, sort of like you did for your midterm speeches where you were demonstrating something or teaching us something. And be certain you can complete the demonstration within the time that's allotted for your speech if you're at a place where the speech is going to be timed. Selecting and framing the topic. So select a topic that's captivating, one that you care about, one that you feel like others should care about or already do care about. So these are some issues and events or people or places, objects, concepts, processes, and policies that you might want to talk about. However, it seems like a lot of you already have great ideas by looking at the discussions. It is also important to relate yourself to your topic. That really gets people interested. You can say why you are interested in the topic and why you're qualified to speak about it. Maybe you have history about it, or you've studied it, or know people that have gone through it. Also, the research that you include in your topic gives you credibility. So if you quote a statistic, that adds to it. And make sure you relate yourself to your topic so it helps your listeners learn and remember. It is also nice to relate your topic to your audience so they have a vested interest. It just means that they care about it, they want to make change too, and explain your topic's relevance to the listeners in case they aren't sure. So when it comes to honing your informative speaking skills, it is important to create information hunger, and basically you're connecting the topics to your listeners' needs. So it could be their physical needs as far as maybe if you're teaching them about food, relational needs as far as relationships and love, identity needs, maybe it speaks to who they are or maybe issues they've gone through, such as anorexia, it could be an identity issue. Spiritual needs as far as religion goes and spirituality, and instrumental needs, maybe teaching them how to accomplish a certain task in life. Be organized when it comes to your speech. You'll have an introduction where people become interested in the topic, present your thesis, your main points, relate the topic to yourself and to others who are listening, and preview the main points. For your body paragraphs, remember that you're going to have 3. Present the main points, have appropriate transitions to get from one paragraph to the next. However, I'm not going to grade too much on the transitions or grade too harshly on the transitions. Make sure you have at least 3 main points and that they relate to one another and that they relate to your main topic. It is important to be organized, so with your conclusion, make sure you reinforce your main idea or your central idea by reviewing your main points that you made before, sort of like a summary, and then create a memorable moment for your audience. So a good one would be maybe a quote or the lifelong lesson that you ended up learning out of the situations you talked about. So for your transitions, use transitions to review the material you presented already, and also material that you are about to present. These are some tips for honing your informative speaking skills. So make it easy for people to listen by keeping it short and simple. Start with something that's familiar, repeat your key points, and try to make your speech fun, unless, of course, it's something that is serious and not fun, but you can still keep people engaged. With your speeches, you can involve the audience, so you can have direct participation where you ask them questions. You could bring up volunteers, have the audience take a poll where they raise their hand for certain situations. You can pose a hypothetical situation to make them think. You can refer to individual people in the audience, and you also can invite questions. Be ethical. So use information from reputable websites because you want them to be true. You want them to be verified and trusted. Understand the information you're reporting. Use verbal footnotes if you need those, and be clear about when you're speculating about something. And that's like saying that something is your idea.